What is happening, you guys? It is your boy Mountain Dew, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 17 most overpriced LEGO Star Wars sets in my personal opinion. Now, I'm very aware that Aminar Productions has already done a video based on this topic, but because he hasn't done another one in a while, I decided to do a part 2 for him, I guess. And the only sets that he put on his list that will be on this list are the only sets I absolutely do agree with him. But at the same time, I'm going to be introducing a lot of new other sets too. But before we get into the list, I just want to leave some honorable mentions, including the Clone Turbo Tank 2016, the Hoth Medical Chamber 2018, and the Naboo Fighter 2015. These sets I thought were overpriced, but not overpriced enough to make the list. And even with their normal prices, I think maybe I would buy them. So without further ado, let's get on to the actual list. So for number 17, I've chosen the X-Wing from 2018, 730 pieces for $80. That's not terrible, but I just felt like, considering that the previous X-Wing came out that was the same exact price, and it had like a maintenance card and ladder, and this one doesn't. I just kind of felt like this one was just kind of a rip-off, and it felt more like it was $70. But even though the build itself, the size feel like $60, I felt like it could have added an extra $70 due to the new big Starklighter minifigure and Luke Skywalker for the new molded helmets and the new minifigure itself, and that does add some value to the set. However, I just felt like that the set just could have been a little less. Next up at number 16, I've chosen Luke's Land Spear. $20 for 149 pieces is going to make this set 13.4 cents per piece, which is quite a bit for a set that doesn't have really any exclusive minifigures or something like that. So I feel like this set could have just bumped down to $15, but seeing as $15 isn't really an option for a set like this, considering that the battle packs have taken that over, it would just kept at $20, which I guess isn't bad. I mean, I picked this thing up for $20, but however, I just felt like something like $15 or $16 would have been just much better. Next up on the list is Jabba's Sail Barge, $120 for 850 pieces. That's pretty expensive, but I guess the highlights of the set that could have brought for the extra price was definitely the Slave Leia minifigure and Max Rebo. And I guess that one dude with the three eyeballs, I can't really read his name from this image, but I guess that's what could have brought it some value. But I feel like for a set like this, $90 or $100 would have just been a much better price, much more accurate, and just a much better price to suit the set size. Next up on the list is the TIE Fighter from 2018, and this set cost $70 for only 519 pieces, which is crazy, 13.5 cents per piece. But I guess almost all the minifigures are new, but don't really feel that exclusive. I guess maybe that one Captain Phasma wannabe could bring some value, but considering that the previous TIE Fighter that came out in 2012 and was $50, that $70 feels really high. So I feel like this one could have just stayed at $15 as well, but nope, it's $70. It's a ripoff. I don't understand why that happened. Definitely wait for the set to go on clearance. Next up on the list is one of my honest choices, just out of the way real quick, and this is this Ki-Adi-Mundi Clone Trooper Jedi Battle Pack. I do like that Ki-Adi-Mundi, which might bring some value to $15 or $17. But I just feel like the size of this, why couldn't you just sell it for $10? Like, seriously, the battle packs are just getting more and more expensive as it's going by, and I'm hoping that it doesn't go something crazy like $20. Next up on the list, I've chosen Palpatine's Office set for $90, and this thing only has like 677 pieces. I just felt like it was $10 or $20 is too much for this thing. But I'm pretty sure all the minifigures to the set were new exclusive, except for Kit Fisto, which might have brought some value, but I just thought that this set was just very lacking with a bunch of big openings and weird things. I guess this little spaceship is alright, but everything else just felt very bland and weird that I just felt like $90 was just too much for a set like this, and I just thought that they could have done so much better with the set. Next up on the list is one of the most controversial LEGO sets of all time, and that's this Jabba's Palace set, 717 pieces for $120 is gonna make this thing 16.7 cents per piece, and that's insane. But I guess almost all the minifigures were exclusive, but $120 is just way too much for something like this. As if the Jabba's sail barge wasn't expensive enough. Just a year earlier, they had to jump the shark almost completely with this one and make it almost 20 cents per piece. The set would have been just fine with $90 or maybe $100, but $120 was just really pushing it to me. Next up on the list is the Sith Infiltrator. This is a Toys R Us exclusive, just like some of the other sets that you see on the list. And I feel like it's usually the store exclusive sets that are always just getting the high prices, just because they're in only one store. And this set was like 13.6 cents per piece, and this was one of those sets that went on clearance and had no exclusive minifigures. So $90 isn't that bad, but I just felt like $80 for a set this size would have just been much better, or $70. But $90 is just kind of pushing it to me. This thing actually went down to $70, but $80 won't be that bad. $90 is just pushing it. Next up on the list is the Imperial Landing Craft 2018 for 636 pieces. This set costs $90. This is crazy considering none of these minifigures are exclusive, and two of these minifigures are pretty bad, to be honest. And especially considering that the previous version was only $15. I feel like, $50. I feel like this one could have been just fine with $60 or $70. That would have been much more accurate, but $90 was just crazy to me, and definitely wait for the set to go on clearance as well. Next up on the list is Vader's TIE Advance versus A-Wing Starfighter. The set cost $90, and it did have 702 pieces, but both of the previous A-Wing and Darth Vader's TIE Fighter were both, I think, $30. So if you thought that would have been $60 or $70, $70 wouldn't be bad for the set, but nope, its set is $90. I just don't understand that, and just the size of these sets don't really feel like it should be that much. And yeah. Next up on the list is the A-Wing, which is a Toys R Us exclusive set, and I think that's a trend we see with these sets. It did come with 358 pieces, but the previous one was $25. Should have been $20 to be honest, but this one did have a ladder and maintenance cart and some really good minifigures, so I just felt like $34 would have just been a much better price. But even this thing even sometimes went for $45, which is even crazier to me. I just felt like $40 is just too much for an A-Wing, and I just don't understand why Lego couldn't go for $34 with this one. Next up on the list is the Snoke's Throne Room, which is 14.2 cents per piece, $70 for 492 pieces. This set is definitely a very disappointing set, and this thing has become a big hot topic, and this thing is just crazily priced, especially considering that the previous Throne Room set was $80 and it had around 700 pieces and was just a much bigger set to fit that higher price, and this set just doesn't do that whatsoever. And the only two minifigures in the set that could have brought that price up are the Praetorian Guards, but even then we're getting them in the battle pack, so please don't get the set for only the Praetorian Guards. The set doesn't have that much of a playability. Snoke's chair comes off, which it doesn't in the movie. You can pull Rey to Snoke with using that little lever, and you can turn Rey around, and it's just very disappointing and just a bum of a set. It's one of the most disappointing sets of all time, and a huge ripoff. So inaccurate, and I've had enough of this set, honestly. I find this set to be very disgusting. Let's just go on to number 4. Next up on the list is Grievous Combat Spader, which was a big hot topic back then. $30. Yes, that's right. $30 for this set. It's gonna make this thing 19.1 cents per piece. Despite the Mace Windu minifigure being exclusive and the General Grievous minifigure being pretty good, the set just doesn't justify the $30. And it's just such a hard thing to swallow, and I always saw this thing warming up the shelves, and I personally consider the set to be 20 bucks. And it's inaccurate too. It should be smaller. It should be like 15 bucks. But somehow Lego is just psycho to just make this thing 30 bucks. I don't know what they could have done to make this thing 30 bucks, but I don't really think everything. I definitely thought they should have this set with a smaller price, a smaller set, and overall just a better set. Next up on the list is Obi-Wan Jedi Starfighter with Hyperdrive. This thing costs $100 to $110 for only 825 pieces. I honestly think that the set should be like $80, but $100, it just feels like too much. And this is also a Toys R Us exclusive, and which is a trend we see with sets like these, just overpriced store exclusive sets. And I did see this thing usually warming up the shelves, and I did see it also go on clearance sometimes, which is pretty rare to see Toys R Us sets go on clearance, but this was one of those sets out there. It did come with some good minifigures, but it just didn't justify the $100. Next up on the list is this Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar from 2012. This was another one that Aminar Productions mentioned, but I feel like this one was just insanely priced, so I had to agree with them, which does make sense. 234 pieces will make this thing over 20 cents per piece, which is very, very psycho. And I personally consider this set to be $25 or $30, but as of $40 wasn't overpriced enough for the first set. This is the only $50 Advent Calendar out there, but luckily this set didn't sell too well because Lego dropped the price down to $40 and $30, and the most desirable minifigures in the set is the Santa's Darth Maul and the Snowman R2 unit, plus the Rebel Scout, no, not the Scout Trooper, just a Rebel Trooper, but everyone else was just common minifigures and just baby model builds that weren't really that good, but only 3 good minifigures in the set. Not that everyone else is bad, everyone else is just too common for the set to be $50, which is just crazy. Next up on the list, well, my number one choice is one you may disagree with, but it's the Yoda's Hut, which makes this thing is 225 pieces for $30, which is gonna make this set over 13 cents per piece. But despite all the minifigures being exclusive and all that, I just felt like the set was very lacking and a huge disappointment, considering that the previous version that came out in 2004, even though it was chopped in half, it would just feel like a much bigger hut, and plus it came with the X-Wing, so that set just felt overall better, and this build feels very lacking, and it's just chopped up in half. It has weird playability, and Lego, for years they've done like grade 25 sets, but starting this year they're upping those prices to 30, which is just absolutely insane to me. And so a set like this, like last year would have been $25, but now it's $30. And seeing Lego just totally increasing their prices over and over, like battle packs going from like $13 to $15 and $17, and seeing builds like this going for $25 to $30, and other builds like the collectible minifigures going from like $2 to $4 is just greedy. And I don't like to think of Lego as a greedy company, but this is just one of these videos that proves just how greedy Lego has gotten ever since like 2013 or something like that. But without further ado, guys, that's the end of this video. What's the most overpriced set that you've paid for? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.